So moving beyond Jon Favreau, because God knows how we got there, to flashback episode, we got a live action poster for the One Piece movie or show. It's a show, right?
Yeah.
Boy, not excited.
Yeah.
Even remotely.
It looks like.
It looks fine.
Whatever.
The poster, as far as posters go, fine.
That's like what you'd expect it to look like.
It's a guy dressed as Luffy.
What a weird anime to turn into live action.
Here's the thing. And we failed with anime that would look good in live action. Yeah. Death Note, for all intents and purposes, should be very easy to convert.
Unbelievably easy.
Like, there's nothing like crazy. Yeah. It's a book. It's just a edgy teenager writing in a book, but they made it into like an action movie when it was supposed to be like a noir thriller.
Yeah, it's bad. They're retrying. Did you hear? With the Duffer Brothers.
I don't know who the Duffer Brothers are.
They made the Stranger Things.
Stranger
Things. They made Stranger Things.
The Stranger Things. Yes, yeah.
They are doing a Death Note live action show. And here's the thing.
That could be cool.
Right? People keep saying like, oh, like Hollywood needs to stop trying. Yeah. I don't think it's impossible. I think it's, like you said, Death Note.
Rurouni Kenshin's trilogy of movies isn't terrible, but that's because it's a samurai movie.
Yeah.
Like, we need things we've seen before.
Dude, fucking, All You Need Is Kill, Live, Die, Repeat, banging movie. The Tom Cruise movie, Edge of Tomorrow.
Is that based off of anime?
So the manga is called All You Need Is Kill.
Oh!
And it's based off that, and they called it Edge of Tomorrow. And then they changed the title again to...
No, I think it's Edge of Tomorrow now.
Now it's Live, Die, Repeat. That is the title.
Now?
Yeah.
Like, it was Edge of Tomorrow when it came out.
In theaters. If you get a DVD
that movie,
of it...
8 months ago, and it was Edge of Tomorrow.
If you get a DVD of it, the box art says Live, Die, Repeat, and not
Really?
Edge of Tomorrow.
I thought that was the tagline. Are you sure it wasn't just the tagline? I think that was the tagline. I think you're confusing tagline with title. They can both be on the front.
Well, I don't know. Anyway,
because Live, Die, Repeat is a stupid name.
It's a bad. It's a bad.
Edge of Tomorrow's kind of badass.
Dude, just call it All You Need Is Kill. That's a terrible name, but it's sick.
What if it doesn't convey? I mean, Edge of Tomorrow does not convey anything either. But All You Need Is Kill is terrible.
It's a bad name, but it sounds manga adaptation. Yeah, the manga's crazy.
Because as far as manga adaptations go, I feel like that's probably the best one we've ever gotten.
Well, so that's the thing, is that it works so well because they really adapted it. It's very different from the manga.
Oh, it is?
Well, the manga, it's not too different. The manga, though, is way edgier, and it's like an 18-year-old dude, and he's like...
Yeah, he's like a high schooler, and he's like, oh no, the battlefield.
He's in a big Halo Mjolnir armor,
It's kind of sick, though.
And he's just hyped and nihilistic,
Gotcha.
So they change a lot.
You kind of have to, though. You have to adapt.
Yeah.
Because when you see anime tropes in live action, it makes you want to die.
Yeah.
Like Cowboy Bebop, the problem, Cowboy Bebop, there was moments that were good, there was moments that were bad. They changed a lot of the characters' backstories, which wasn't great. Like they changed Faye, they changed Jet Black, but then the one character they were faithful to was Ed. And the thing is, Ed has forever been autistic coded, and it works in anime because there's a separation between reality when it's animated. Seeing it in live action, you're like, oh my god, I hate you so much. I can't do this.
I mean, I don't think it has anything to do with the coding. I think a character like that absolutely works in live action. It's just the framing of, not even just the literal framing.
Yeah.
Yes, the cinematography was whack as hell.
They were it was like a BG Boys music video.
Yeah.
They were twisting the camera.
BG Boys.
What is the word I'm looking for?
Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys! The fellow youngs. Actually, you know what? No, not knowing the Beastie Boys makes me young.
Yeah. No, I think, that character can work. I don't think you need to change the character necessarily, but it's just, the tone of that show, of, the live-action show.
Was, space noir.
No, the live-action one's, goofy and quirky.
Yeah.
And so Ed comes into this cringy, already goofy, quirky show and just puts the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Whereas in the anime, the tone is very subdued, very cool, very noir. And then Ed is supposed to be this counterbalance to it, where Ed feels like this rampant torrent of chaos.
Yeah.
Because they're going against everyone else who's all chill and relaxed.
And that was my biggest thing. It was I don't know. I think honestly, The Last of Us is a really good representation of adapting live action, and the best thing they've done thus far is actually change the story. And I think it's important to identify when certain changes to a source material need to be made to make it more compelling. You made a really good TikTok about it when you were like, they cut this stealth thing out because why would you add in-game mechanics or things that are unnecessary to a plot line? Flesh out what other people identified as interesting plot lines like Bill and Frank. So it's like walking a weird margin between how faithful do we stay and like, but don't change too much.
Yeah.
Because with Cowboy Bebop, changing Faye's backstory, changing Jet Black's backstory seriously changes who they are as characters. And that's the real problem. And they didn't really change Spike's backstory, but the main bad guy, they kind of changed his demeanor. They kind of made him bitchier. And it was just like, this should have worked because we've done space noir. Yeah. Like we've done, what is it? Edge Runner? No, not Edge Runners. 2049. They made
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Like we've done space noir. We've done like future, detective, like all of this is done 100 times before. And it's why Rurouni Kenshin works because it's samurai stuff.
Well, it's like Cowboy Bebop's another one that is just so easy to turn into live action if you just aren't a like lunatic about it. Like they just got the tone so wrong somehow. Like if they just like chilled it out and also like like you said, like Blade Runner 2047 or 2049. 2049. Like, such a great example of, like, the tone it should have been, the look it should have been. I don't know why they went with this weird, like, hyper-stylized millennial, like, nonsense.
Yeah.
And now they're trying it with... And I don't like to say, like, they, as if, like, it's one person, like, making these things. But it's like, now they're picking One Piece... And it's like, I wouldn't in a million years try to adapt that in a live action.
The thing is, One Pice is goofy. Like
it's like insanely goofy
and
like
tropey.
The special effects are crazy.
Yeah.
And
well, the thing is, we're getting the first 5 Straw Hats, which is Luffy, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Zoro, who are like the 5 humans of the crew, sort of. Like, obviously, we're gonna get things like you know, Luffy using his gum fruit. And the thing is, I don't think it matters how well they do the CGI on Luffy's arm stretching and all of that. It's gonna look uncanny valley. Like we can watch it on anime because we're like, oh, look at him stretch, look at me a balloon and all of that. But imagine he has like nipples or like you can like see his like fingers articulate with creases. Like it's just it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be watching like Mr. Incredible, but like in like hyper realistic animation and fast.
Well, it's also just like not even the CG on Luffy. Like that aside, what about just like the whole world? Like everything about the world of One Piece is batshit insane.
Axe-Hand Morgan is the first bad guy, and he wears like a Mad Max
looking dude.
Yeah, a Mad Max jaw. His hand is an axe, and then there's the dude on Usopp's island with the blades for hands, and it's gonna look it's just gonna be goofy to me. And this is assuming that they only do the first 24 episodes, which is basically like getting to the Baratier. Like, I think they leave Baratier episode 30 in One Piece. So,
I mean, they'll probably, like, condense it a ton, I have to assume, from, like, the anime,
Which is also a problem, though, because One Piece is about world building. But, like, even if you're like, oh, one pace, you know, like, they're going to cut out some of, like, all, like, the bad pacing moments. Like, that's fine. Like, do it, I guess. But, like, that's not going to cut out 500 episodes.
Yeah.
It'll cut out 100, maybe 200. But, like, we're still going to be looking at 20 to 30 episodes. Like, it's going to be like 25-ish episodes to get through the Baratier.
Yeah.
And that would be one season on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just, like, adapt it so hard in a way that, like, it's not meant to be, like, an infinite show like the anime. Like, maybe it's, like, just gonna do its own thing, like, kind of make its own, like, separate canon, its own separate world. But again, One Piece is such a strange one to do it for.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have, like, One Piece, Naruto... arguably Dragon Ball.
MHA? Jose was like, well, they should do MHA. Why would you do MHA?
Yeah,
could you imagine seeing live action Windex Bottle Man? It'd be terrifying.
I would never try and adapt like any ensemble shonen into live action. Other than like maybe
it's been done
Bleach.
and it looks awful.
Other than maybe Bleach, where it's just people in robes, but it's like it's just too many characters and like too much.
You're gonna
CGI
mess up
that
on,
they're not gonna do.
You're gonna mess up on character design somewhere.
Yeah.
Like you can't. You're not gonna give $1 million of character design to give me all of Class 1A, all of Class 1B, all of the Konoha 13. Like somebody's gonna look goofy and it's gonna pull me out of it.
I could see Chainsaw Man with a decent budget doing it, just because it's like a handful of people just wearing suits and the tone is pretty chill. Like it's not like, except for the fights, it's pretty like mundane, but I'm saying with like My Hero, just a shot of the classroom is like a $30,000 like up in budget
because we need to have
some people are birds.
Tokoyami as like a full like either CGI or practical bird.
That's like it's the same with One Piece. Like someone's a deer, like someone's just a straight up reindeer.
Yeah.
Just to look at Chopper
is money.
Is a hell of a like.
Frankie
expense.
is a full cyborg.
Yeah.
Like in his post time skip arc, even more cyborg, like insane. And then there's Brooke. Talking skeleton. Jinbei is a fish. Yeah. Like, so when we get to those people, and then like one of the most important arcs that they probably will cover is gonna be, it's not Fishman Island, but it's Nami's arc, where like her entire village has been taken over by fishmen. And which means every bad guy they're gonna do for this very, and I mean very important arc is probably gonna be either fully CGI or fully practical. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
So I just don't think of all the shows to adapt, it's a wild choice to me. And the thing is, I think of all of the like adaptations into live action, One Piece has the best chance because there's, well, here's the thing. Let me cook.
I thought we just agreed that this is not the case.
Let me cook. So it's being made by fans. Oda's heavily involved. He's like, it looks good. And there's a lot of money behind it. You know, the castings are pretty good. My thing is when you're talking about adapting something into live action, to me, it's about finish, like where your finish line is. And so One Piece has the longest race to run. Yeah. Like Death Note's race, very short. So like they get to start the race very like way further up. So what I'm saying is One Piece might have a lot of hands pushing it up, like Oda being behind it, it being made by fans and all of that. But at the end of the day, I don't think that's enough to get it across the finish line.
Yeah, I think their best course of action. I mean, I don't know. We need a trailer because I don't even know what like the visual tone is.
Well, it's coming in 2023. So the fact that we don't have a trailer is kind of crazy.
It's not that crazy. It's January. Well, it's
I know,
February 1st.
I guess that's fair. But we're getting photos of like those set. This like we can get like the.
I mean, if it comes out in like December of 2023, then like we got a ways to go. That's like pretty much a year away.
Yeah. Do you think that it would be better if they just adapted the story, or if they were like, this is a story that's canon to the other story, or like just like we're operating within the confines of the One Piece universe?
Yeah, they got to change so much. Like I think fans need, if like anyone wants to enjoy this, it could be bad. Like I genuinely think the Cowboy Bebop show, bad. Enjoyable as like something bad, but it's like almost insulting
to Cowboy Bebop
with how like
loose with the
quirky and edgy it is. Well, but it's like, it's not that I don't mind changes. Like I'm so fine because it's like we have the original thing, like The Last of Us you were talking about. Yeah. They change a ton with the Bill story without getting into spoilers, but it works because the change develops Bill in a different way than the game.
It increases the literacy of the universe.
So it's like, so like if you take the game, the character of Bill, you have like, almost like you have like ending A in the game, and then you have like ending B, which is the show, and if you put those together, you get like what Bill could have been in two different circumstances, thus fully rounding him out.
And giving a full fleshed out beautiful backstory that makes you appreciate both sides of the character more. Yeah,
exactly. But with like Cowboy Bebop and Death Note, like the Death Note movie, which I just saw and like did a big video on, with the Death Note movie, the changes don't like, the what ifs of the changes aren't like developing L. Like it's not like, oh, what if L was more social? What if we made L more social? He's not, but like that's a change they could have made. Like what if L was like a strange, awkward, like autistic coded character, but social? Then that's like, oh, that like gives us a different perspective of him. Or what if they explore why he isn't social? You know, like it's hard to interact with
Flesh out the character before L, you know, like obviously has his, you know, his path A ending.
Yeah, exactly. Like make changes to round out these characters or this story. So I'm not against changes if it's like that. I do think One Piece needs to be like a full body change adaptation. And I think fans need to be open to it. Like you can't go in and be like,
I want frame for frame One Piece.
Like what, Vivi doesn't have her bird? Like there's no Karoo? Like,
oh my god, that would be horrifying in CG.
It'd be so
it'd
scary.
be like those monsters they rode around in the prequels of Star Wars.
But it's like, I think people, especially with Oda being involved, if Oda has any writing, like, like permissions or whatever, or privileges.
You would be insane to be like, no, mangaka, stay away. Like, why would you want to write this for us? Yeah, no.
Well, it could be like a payment thing. Like, maybe they just don't want to pay
That's
extra.
fair,
But
honestly.
like, if Oda has any, like, say in the writing or whatever, I could fully see him being like, yeah, let's cut out this arc, take pieces of it. Like, let's cut out, like, I don't know, but like, let's cut out some of this arc, put in Alabasta, add pieces of it there to crunch it a little. Like, I'm sure Oda has like regrets or things he would change.
Yeah, of course.
Looking back, like he's been doing this.
Well, he does the
every
cover
month.
stories. He does
Yeah,
like the Ask Oda segments. Like he's
Yeah.
always fleshing out his own universe more, like post
Yeah.
it being completed.
Like,
you know?
I'm sure if you ask Oda, he'd be like, man, I wish like this arc was shorter or this or this. Like,
yeah.
like people need to be open to them making changes. But again, that being said, until we get a trailer, it could just be another insulting, nonsense, terrible adaptation.
I
like,
think we're getting better though. I think we're.
When was there a good one of these?
No,
The
no,
last
no.
one was Cowboy Bebop.
Well, I'm saying, but like Cowboy Bebop is better than like Dragon Ball Evolution. You know, like I think we're working our way towards.
Maybe.
Come on, it is. Come on.
What was before? Because Death Note is like
If you-
Dragon Ball Evolution level.
No, if you haven't seen Death Note, the manga or the anime, the Death Note movie's not that bad.
Disagree.
If you're
Disagree.
just like, oh, what a fun, interesting little story that I know nothing about. It's okay.
It's a mess.
It is a mess.
It's the
They also made Light have like moral conundrums, and it's like he is a megalomaniac. Like he's a god complex. Like I am gonna rule the fucking world. Why is he having moral conundrums?
They gave him like slight moral conundrums while somehow making him even less likable. Because the one in the anime is like a pure psychopath.
Yeah.
Like
Through and through.
and he's like deluding himself. Like, but he's so clever and so confident that you're like excited both for his successes and his failure.
downfall. Yeah.
In the movie, he's like the Columbine shooter.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're just so unlikable.
I just
like
hate you.
he's like making out with his girlfriend while being like, yeah, like what about this guy? Like let's kill him. And it's like, what is this? You're
Not
like
even,
a
like-
despicable person.
Yeah, like not even remotely how it goes. So like
Yeah.
changes like that. I think the real problem is if you're gonna make changes, make sure that they add to the story. Don't try and be like, oh, we're making changes to like spruce up the story, but sticking to the story. Like that's my biggest thing. Like either stick to the story, panel for panel in live action, or make changes that improve the story while altering what path you're taking.
Yeah. Well, it's also like if you want to I just don't understand some of the changes. Like when it's not to like round out the world or something like that. Like if you take like a Dragon Ball Evolution, right?
Yeah.
Where all the changes are insane. Goku's in high school.
Yeah.
He's like none of the lore is like
He's like dating
around.
Bulma. You're
He's like
what?
like
I don't think that's legal.
it's like all insanity and like doesn't make sense. He goes to like a high school party and like
Yeah.
beats up some kids.
Yeah, with like a Kamehameha like in the
Yeah.
pool.
Yeah, he like if you want to make changes that radical, just rip off Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like just make your own thing and rip it off.
Call him like Ukog.
Take your time.
How would you say Goku backwards?
Hire someone to write it.
Yeah.
Don't get Nick to do it. but-
Ukog. Yes, my boy. Ukog. It's not like they didn't do that in Dragon Ball. They're called Boo Oob.
Akog?
Akog?
Yeah.
This is Akog. He's gonna use the Hamyamka.
Stop.
If somebody like out there can
No one's
say
telling me to do
Kamehameha
this.
backwards, I will give them $5.
Kamehameha.
There's no way you do it. Aha. Aha.
Mech. Ak.
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 This is awful podcasting. $5
Yeah,
on
I've
your way.
earned it.
All right. So, long story short, keep your expectations low. I mean, if you're excited for it, like then hell yeah, be excited for it. Like I'm not gonna be a hater. It's just my expectations are not super high because nobody's ever really given me a reason to have high expectations when it comes to a live action. I think One Piece has the best chance, but they also have the longest race to run.